Hey everyone, I am Coach Wolverine, the owner and creator of the Wolverine Lifestyle and co-host to the channel A Conversation Over Drinks. Today's pondering thought was an interesting one, and it's one that I'm guilty of. Comparing ourselves in our relationships. Not just intimate relationships, but our friendships as well. Now, it's a little bit of a backstory here. In years past, and even still I catch myself doing now, I compare myself to a lot of people. And I have now learnt different tools on how to overcome that self-comparison, and realizing that, if I'm comparing myself in this way to this person, that means that they have something that I want. And then reframing it as how can I get that? What do I have to do to get this if whatever this person has sparks up that jealous or envious feeling? So when it comes to specific people that I used to do this to, it was, characteristics they had, traits that they had, maybe how they were as people, or how people gravitated towards them, or how they acted around them. There are so many potential different things. Now, this scenario has happened to me a lot. I compare myself to somebody, okay? And in my brain, I'm trying to put them down. Right? I'm trying to make myself feel better by putting them down in my brain, for whatever reason it is. And even to the point with criticizing or critiquing their personality to make myself dislike them more without even knowing them. Yeah, I will be the first to admit I used to do this because I was super insecure about almost everything. But then the funny thing happened. At one point in time, with almost everybody that I did this to, a conversation would be had with this individual. Whether or not they approach me or I approach them. And 9.5 out of 10 times, I would leave that conversation thinking to myself, fuck, I did it again. Because after having this conversation with this person, I realized that this person's actually kind of okay. I kind of actually like this person. And I've had this conversation with numerous different people, with different significant others and friends, of owning the fact that I do this. And up until a few years ago, I would still have these thoughts, and I would still have these feelings towards specific people or specific individuals, and be aware of it, and then get mad at myself because I'm aware of it, but yet still doing it. And in reality, it just means that I haven't worked on that aspect of myself yet. I haven't laid it to rest. Or more notably, it's something of myself I haven't accepted. So for example, or an example characteristic, I always wished that I was a bit more outgoing or more charismatic, or, the life of the party. But that just was never me. So I would compare myself to these other people, being like, man, I wish I was more like that. But then even when I tried to be like that, it just felt uncomfortable. And not like the discomfort of growth, but the discomfort of, this just isn't me, right? I don't actually care to be this way. But I think that I should care because I see other people being super charismatic or super the life of the party or whatever, right? But that's just not me. It's not my personality. And so it took me forever to be able to accept that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being the quiet guy and sitting back and observing and, investing myself into deep conversation or meaningful conversation when it's the privilege to have it is there. And it took forever. So, anyways, now back to the root story. So these people, I would talk to them. These people that I was already comparing myself to, these people that I was basically putting on a pedestal. And then I have a conversation, and find out that I actually end up liking these people. And a lot of them end up actually becoming my friends. A lot of them I'm still friends with today. A lot of them I might not be friends with anymore just because we ended up growing apart, moved away, whatever. So, I would have that thought, I did it again. Then they become my friends. And then as our friendship kind of deepens, and some interesting topics of conversation would come up, a few of them have now admitted that before that conversation that sparked that friendship happened, that they were insecure about me, about certain things, and placed me on a pedestal about certain things. And then when I heard this, it just blew my mind. Now, I'm not saying this to pump my own tires or anything like that. There is a point to this. I realized that I was comparing myself to others in the exact same way that they were comparing themselves to me. And when I heard what they were comparing themselves to me about, I was like, what? Like why? Why are you comparing yourself to me in that way? That's just strange. Like that, and often it was places of myself that I felt it was inadequate. And so to hear that where a part in my life I feel is inadequate, somebody else is praising me for, it just absolutely blew my mind. So then I would open up to them and be like, well, it's funny that you say that, because I was actually insecure about you in this specific thing. And then they would look at me like a deer in the headlights the same way and be like, what? Why? And so I find this absolutely fascinating, because at the end of the day, we're our own worst critic, okay? And we compare ourselves to others to make us, we see people, we have envy over something that they want, and then we try and put them down to make ourselves feel better. And a lot of the times. And instead of asking ourselves, well, what do I have to do to get to that as well? And we will sit and fester and obsess over thoughts of what are these people do, or believing that these people are thinking about us and obsessing over us. And we create insecurity in ourselves, when in hindsight, these people that we're putting onto a pedestal, there's a lot of things that they're probably putting me, also on a pedestal for. And so the absolute point of this conversation is that there is no benefits to comparing ourselves to somebody else, except for using the act of comparing ourselves to somebody else as a check engine light to understand that they have something that we want, and we just have to reframe our relationship to asking ourselves, how can we get that too? We look at them and see that, hey, what I want is actually, we can do it. It's capable. Somebody's done it. So how can we get that? As opposed to bringing them down and trying to give them a cop-out like it came to them easy or whatever. So that is it. That is the only benefits to comparing ourselves to somebody else, is using it as a check engine light tool. Be like, okay, clearly this is something that I want. What am I going to do to get that? And just at the end of the day, we have to just stop comparing ourselves. Because, let me tell you, when I heard that people were comparing themselves to me, my mind was blown. It was like my reality was just like, what do you mean? Right? I'm not that inadequate. I'm not worthless. I'm not actually that bad. It really is. So, ask yourself this: when you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody else, be like, well, what if other people are doing that to me? And then we realize that it's just a giant waste of our time. That's it for today, guys. Please like, share, subscribe on whatever platform you are consuming this content on. And if you also deal with this, if you struggle with this, leave me a comment below. That's it for today. Take care, guys.